is basically a valid point to make about the whole King thing. Here's a question that I saw, did not realize until it hit the news a lot, was that it was very white.
Okay.
What do you make of that? That the guy in Baltimore, the paper there said, we struggled our photographer to find a picture of black people in this march. I'm okay with that. I didn't go, and I feel like, well, you talk.
Well, we had a meeting.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
And let's just say it didn't go too well for white folks, that's all.
Why the fuck were y'all looking at black people to be at the No Kings protest? We literally let the people them know before the election what the fuck was going to happen. We knew about Project 2025, and y'all thought we was just yapping. And the reason y'all thought we was just yapping, because motherfuckers did not expect for the suffrage to be past black people and immigrants. So now that people see that the suffrage is countrywide and not just race and immigrant wide, now you looking for us to motherfucking be out there with y'all? Nah. Especially not the 92%. Nah, we chilling. That's not to say that we don't give a fuck about what happens to this country. It's to say that the people who were out there marching didn't give a fuck about what happened to this country. What do you guys think about this video? Leave me a comment.
Across social media, one thing that stood out during the No Kings protest was the plenty faces of white people. And now the white people are now asking, where were black people? Why didn't they come out to protest with us, you know? The cameras searched for them, the media looked for them, but they couldn't find them. But here is the truth. Black people have been protesting for years, you know, shouting, marching, crying, and demanding for justice, often faced with riot gear, tear gas, and rubber bullets by the police. So their absence is because they are exhausted. They have been fighting this battle for long, even before others even noticed it. So let's get to see the reactions. Then you come back with a complete analysis about this topic, all right? And if you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments, all right? Let's dive into it.
Check this out.
That is basically a valid point to make about the whole King thing. Here's a question that I saw, did not realize until it hit the news a lot, was that it was very white. What do you make of that? That the guy in Baltimore, the paper there said, we struggled our photographer to find a picture of black people in this march. I'm okay with that. I didn't go, and I feel like, well, you talk.
Now, I have worked my whole life trying to get the majority culture to appreciate diversity, to notice how there's a lack of black people in boardrooms, how of all the Fortune 500 CEOs, only 1.6% are black, to notice how certain clubs are absent of black people, to notice how certain neighborhoods and schools don't provide us with access. But the one time white folks want to start talking about where are the black folks and noticing our absence is when it comes to us putting our lives on the line and carrying the burden of struggle. So damn typical, man. So damn typical.
Y'all saw they was looking for us out at the No Kings March and they couldn't find us. Bill Maher talking about, oh yeah, the Baltimore newspaper said that they photographers was searching for black people in the crowd and they couldn't find them. They was looking for us, child. And the reason why they was looking for us is because they want us to be the face. They wanted to take a picture of us to put on the front page of the newspaper when they wrote that story. They want us to be the face of everything that's wrong with this country. And that's the reason why I need y'all, November 1st, if they cut SNAP like they say they're going to, I need y'all to not come on here and talk about how not having SNAP benefits is affecting you. I need you to not give no interviews to no newspapers. Do not be the face of the SNAP benefits. Do not let them use us, Black women especially, as the poster child for SNAP benefits. Don't come on here talking about how you hungry, how your kids is hungry. No. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, DM me if you must. If you get the urge to come on here and talk about how hungry you are, DM me and we'll figure something out. Because no, I just like we not the face of they little marches and all that type of stuff. I don't need us to be the face of this. We need to change the narrative. And the only way for us to do that is to keep our mouth shut.
Initially, I wasn't going to say shit about this. I wasn't going to say anything about the lack of melanin at these protests, specifically talking about the No Kings protest. But fuck it, here's my take. In the event that you have no idea what I'm talking about, a clip from Bill Maher's talk show actually resurfaced showing the talk show host expressing his concerns over the lack of melanated bodies at these protests. In the clip, Bill Maher actually states that he noticed a strange presence, that it was strange, the absence of Black people at the No Kings protest. And then he even spoke about how photographers were literally stating how they were struggling to find Black people, that they could not spot Black people within the crowd. Why are you looking for Black people? Why are you looking for us? Especially considering we have not been outside since the ending of November 2024. Or have you not been paying attention? We said we wasn't going outside. We said we weren't fighting. So why are you looking for us? That right there is the reason why I'm so happy that Black people collectively have come to the conclusion we're going to sit this one out. This is not our fight. Because we knew that you were looking for us. We knew that you were plotting. You were plotting on us. Photographers for media source outlets literally stating, they're expressing how they found it challenging to be able to capture a Black person on film at these protests. It makes me feel like there's some type of quota that they have to meet. Some type of quota of how many Black faces they're able to capture so that they're able to use it for their narrative. Now all I really want to know is who's going to be the new scapegoat? Because you can't use my face anymore. You can't use my face. So who's the new problematic group in America? Who's the new violent group in America? Who's the new group that's always causing civil unrest in America? Who? Whose face are y'all going to use to try to make it seem like these protests for civil rights are violent? Who are you going to use to be able to spin that narrative? Whose blood will you shed? Whose life will you claim and be able to get away with it? Who? Because right now, y'all got a whole lot to fight for. Y'all got a whole lot to protest, to scream, to burn shit down for. But you don't want to fight the government. Y'all don't want to fight the government. You want to fight Black people. You don't want to fight the Republicans or the Democrats. You want to fight Black people. You don't want to fight for your rights. You don't want to fight for your lives. You want to fight Black people. Get somebody else to do it.
It's interesting that the media is talking about the absence of Black people at the No King's Day protest. I find that really interesting, absolutely. It's Bill Maher who is talking about how there was an absence of Black people at these No King's Day protests, and also photographers that were saying, oh, it was kind of hard to find any Black people in these protests, like it was kind of a hard feat. Why is that the focus? Why, as a photographer, are you going to these protests and basically just looking for Black people? It's almost as if literally everyone was just looking for Black people to be there. Everyone was just waiting for Black people to be there. There must have been someone like counting to see how many Black people were going to show up to these protests. And it also makes me think, like, did the government think that there were going to be more Black people showing out in this No King's Day protest rather than the first one? And so, like, now they're outright talking about it and like, oh, well, we didn't really see any Black people there. It's like, why is that the topic of discussion? Why is that the topic of discussion when that's not even necessarily what the protest was about? Like, maybe that is a part of the protest, but, like, that's not the general idea. The general idea is no kings, which is currently what's going on with the current administration here in America. So why is it, like, now in the mainstream media being talked about how Black people just weren't there? There was a lack of Black people at these protests. Why is that the conversation? Why is it always about Black people? Like, this clearly must be about Black people. it must have been about gauging the amount of black people that would come out and cause a scene or cause a riot or do whatever they thought was going to happen, like, and it just didn't happen. And so now they're in the media talking about, oh, there just wasn't that many black people. Us photographers couldn't find any black people to take pictures of. It's like, why is that your main goal? Why is that what everyone cared about in these protests? That's how you know something's incorrect. And also, like, the power that black people hold. Because genuinely, it's the topic of discussion for every discussion. Where are the black people at? Something about black people. Black people always being brought up. It's just so interesting to see. Not surprising, but interesting.
Maher made a point to say that he spoke to photographers that attended the No King's Day protests. And these photographers said to him that they really struggled to find pictures of black people in attendance. Why is that? Why are photographers looking for black people to be in attendance at the No King's Day protests? Folks, we've known what this has been about. We've known what all of this has been about since Election Day. We all knew what time it was. And we knew that stepping back and allowing the rest of the country to fight this battle was the right decision. Because if you read Project 2025, if you read any piece of Project 2025, you knew they were looking to come after our community. And while so many other communities are proving to be collateral damage right now, they are also suffering at the hands of these people right now. Their goal, their end game, the last infinity stone to what they need to accomplish relies on the presence of black people. It hasn't even been a year since that election took place. And now you literally have someone like Bill Maher on his show speaking to someone like Michael Steele on HBO about the fact that can't nobody find us. Folks, if you have any knowledge of media, especially in America, especially at the highest levels of media, that means this conversation is happening in the boardrooms of some of the most powerful people on the planet. A lot of the people that probably have their hands in what's going on with this government are clearly looking for any way to get black people involved. But we haven't, and it actually confuses them. They're holding case studies on live television, trying to figure out what it's going to take to get us into this fight. Anyone who doubted that we made the right decision should be paying attention to that conversation, because I believe it highlights that we are connected to something very spiritual that they want access to. They've wanted access to it for a long time. They need it right now, and they cannot get it.
Black people keep resting. Bill Maher is on his television show asking why we weren't at the No Kings protest. And Bill, I'll tell you why. Because we're done. Until this country grows a conscience, what are we fighting for? We have no evidence that people in this country have a conscience. And that's what our ancestors did not realize until it was too late. And now we have the foresight and the telepathic ways of communicating that we recognize each other, and we're in a season where we can recognize our culture and respect it and own it. And for all of those who think we're mad because we're black, do you see how this is hitting my skin? This is 41. I will want to be black in every lifetime. Every lifetime.
You know, Bill Maher got on Beyonce's internet and said, where were the black people at the No Kings protests? Okay, and my response to that was, how you ain't get the memo? Okay, black people haven't been keeping it a secret that not only were we disappointed, but we have decided that we are no longer putting our bodies on the line to be sacrificed to move this country forward. Somebody else got to do it. Okay? And some people, some demographics may not feel as though that's right. Okay, but we did the work before the election and after the election. Okay, and to be honest with you, if there is a block of people, if there's a community in this country known for pushing the needle forward, dragging the needle forward, sacrificing our children, our bodies, our jobs, okay, our health and safety, it has always been my community. Okay, so where were we? We were in the arms of safety, baby. Where we gonna stay? Because black people told you what was coming. Okay, because we've seen this shuck and jive before. We told you what was coming. Okay, if you want to know where we are and where we are now, we at home preparing for what's about to hit this whole country. Okay, because we told you and you didn't listen. Okay? Thoughts and prayers.
What we are witnessing now isn't silence, it's fatigue. It is a deep exhaustion of a community that has carried the America's conscience for generations. Because black Americans have protested, they have voted, they have organized, and they have spoken out time and time again, only to be demonized, brutalized, and gaslighted. So when black people march, the law enforcement or the police tends to escalate, The police show up in riot gear, but when white protesters are outside, that's not the case. So that contrast speaks volume, and that's why black Americans chose not to be outside, They are being tired of being the nation's scapegoat at the face of every headline. They say they have been screaming for justice for decades, while much of America turned a blind eye. Now that the system starts to crack under its own weight, some white Americans are now shocked that black folks didn't show up, They are not talking about it. They are being silent. They want the black people to fix it for them. But why should they? Black people have done their part. They have been always at the front line, from Selma to Ferguson, from George Floyd to Breonna Taylor, They have risked everything, their safety, their jobs, and even their lives, to push the country towards justice. And what did they get in return? Blame, accusations, and labeled as violent. So the message this time is clear. Sort yourself out. Because this problem ain't a black American problem. It's America's problem, The same system that ignored black people's pain is now ignoring everybody's struggles. The same politicians who dismissed racial injustice are now failing on economic justice, healthcare, and basic human rights. And you can't keep asking a community that has been bruised for centuries to keep saving a nation that never saves them back. So black Americans say that the refusal to show up isn't apathy. It is a form of resistance, And maybe this time, white America, they need to feel the weight of what protest really looks like, The danger, the discomfort, and the fear of being misunderstood. Because that's what black Americans have lived for every single time they took to the streets. So black people's protest today is silence, self-preservation, and peace. And maybe that's what this country needs to see. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.